Dead reckoning. It resonates. It resonates in eternity, no doubt. So I was flying back after making some pretty big decisions on our direction for 2020. I always love to be able to plan and to be able to sit down and set direction and map out a year. And mapping out a year from a standpoint of, like, what would it look like at the end of 2020, this time in December at 2020, and what would I have to do and what would I have to become to be that person or be in that place? And I'm coming to you with a couple concepts today. One is to put you on a path to be able to start planning for 2020 here in December. And asking yourself that same question: who would I need to become to be able to be where I want to be in 2020 at this same time? So looking a year. And there's a lot more that goes into this. Of course, you can't just set a year and then show up. You got to have benchmarks. You got to have ways to check some things. And that's a whole nother, I'll leave that up to you. That's a whole nother podcast. It's a whole nother workshop. It's a whole lot of other. But you can definitely do anything that you want to do, what you set out to do, and be what you want to be when you want to be it. And this comes down to how much purpose you have, how much soul you have, how much heart you have to be able to achieve it. And this is what I call dead reckoning. So dead reckoning is a concept, and I've heard the words before, never really just like sat with it and was like, let's focus on dead reckoning. But it is a couple words, if you were to be faced with it, when God comes knocking, where are you at? It's a reckoning of where you're at. Like, if you were to die today, nothing else would actually ever transpire in your world. Everything that you've done, a line is drawn. You can't take back anything. You can't do anything more. You can't give anything more, give anything away. It's over. And so I'm coming back after making a huge decision to go all in on myself, go all in on you guys, to be able to lead at a whole new level of what we bring to health and healthcare. And I've been toying with it, and I said, look, I got to go all in on this. I got to go all in. Why? Because it's just so necessary. There are too many people out there that are hurting and destroying their lives that need a pathway. They need an out. They need a direction. And so for 2020, I said, this is what we want. And I'm going to unveil that. Not today, but over a series of these podcasts, we're going to unveil what we're bringing to the table on this. And I'm super excited on this. But you know, every time you make these decisions, you're like, hey, that's right. I mean, I think I'm moving on the direction that my purpose is calling me to. I think that it makes some sense. And I feel like it's right. I've listened and I've prayed and I've meditated on it. And this is the direction that I'm going. And so, okay, I'm moving. I don't want to, because there's a lot of struggles, there's a lot of pain that's going to go with this. It's going to be stretching beyond what I've ever been able to stretch before, but that's what I am. That's what I do. And so from Orange County Airport, take off, comfortable new plane, in a little 737. That's their new, it's Boeing's new, not the one that had some issues, but this new little one. And it was comfortable, and just like walk out of that, get into Salt Lake, kind of hustle down. I picked up some some stuff for my face, which I love. There's a little Keel shop right there, and I was like, cool, this stuff makes my face feel good, so I grabbed that. And just keep walking, not a hustle, but I knew I needed to get down to the little commuter jet, and down to the commuter jet we go, and get into the commuter jet, checked in, everything like that, check in, get them all my bag stuff, and, it takes us a little bit to push back, but it's only like a, 35-minute flight, 26 minutes in the air. So it's like an ascent, descent that takes, it's just the shortest little flight. And I love it because I'm in Salt Lake, be home 35 minutes later, hour change from the time change. And boom, I'm home. I walk out, get in my car. So we're all settling in, and there's 4 seats out in front of me. And it's kind of funny. I was just thinking of like, why are those seats open? There's 4 seats, like the comfort. I had first class, but I can't get in that row of comfort. I don't get it. I'm just contemplating on the things. This thing pops up on my phone, and Russell Brunson's question of purpose. Like, it intrigued me. He's like, do you want to know more? And I'm like, clicked on it, nothing happened. I'm like, check my emails, and there's an email. I'm like, that's cool marketing. I'm like, I want to know how to do this. Russell Brunson, if you don't know, is ClickFunnels, and the question that he wanted to ask Tony, but he was embarrassed. Like, he didn't know if he should do it. So I'm watching this thing, and he starts out, and he says, like, why is your breath always good? If you've seen this, you'll love it. And, like, Tony was like, literally, that's your question? You could see he was like, yeah, well. And it was funny. Tony answered with the concept that he was alkaline and not decaying and rotten. That's where bad breath comes from. I'm like, right on. That's the stuff we preach too. But no, Russell goes, hey, here's where I'm at, and we're carving through all these types of things. And anybody in a plane that knows that you can actually stream that stuff, and it's got a lag time. So we're taking off. And this little computer chat's taking off, and I look around, and everybody's in their phones. I'm in my phone. I'm just listening to this. Kind of, I got my earbuds in. I'm listening. And Russell, is like, ask the questions of like I'm an artist, and this is really what I want to do, but my business is really dragging me down because I get caught up on all these things. I don't have a lot of time left over to do all this other stuff. And he's just chewing through this. I'm listening to this. Tony's just like, dude, I can see when you light up when you are doing your art, which is marketing and helping people market and all these types of things. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. I love helping people, love seeing people get healthier and make these moves. And I'm like, yeah, it's like truly the artist and all these types of things. And it's starting to like, okay, this is clicking for me. And I'm clicking, and it's clicking. And then all of a sudden, the entire cabin lights up with a white light. And there's the loudest bang that you could ever imagine. And everything stops. Everything fucking stops. And the plane throttles back, and in an instant we level off, and I'm going through my process. I'm a pilot. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was an engine, but it's white light. That white light could have been lightning, could have been struck by lightning. Electrical is out, and I'm looking over. I look at the engine on this side, but I could see the flash was from the left, so I'm like out of my seat looking. The stewardess is up. She's checking the door. All sorts of shit's going on. Everybody's just like quiet, out of their phones, woken up for a moment. And this is like, the guy looks at me, and I go, it had to be lightning, and it had to be lightning. Is that engine okay? He's like, I don't see anything in the engine, no smoke or anything like that. And so processing through all this types of stuff. And then I sit down and realize that there's not a fucking thing I can do. There's not a fucking thing I can do but sit there and tighten my seatbelt and come to terms with what is. And there's a submission at a level that you can only imagine if you've never been there in that position. And you would think you'd have these epiphanies. You'd think that you'd just be like, okay, I'm not ready to go, or I am ready to go. And all these types of things would cross through your mind. And I'm like, should I just shoot off a text? Like, if we're going down, maybe I just shoot off a text, maybe make a phone call, but I don't want to worry anybody if this does come through. And then literally in my mind, I'm going through this process of like, okay, I'm going to fight this thing. Yeah, I'm going to fight. I'm going to start to struggle right now. The seatbelt, yeah, the seatbelt's there. Okay, I got an extra vest in my bag here. I'm gonna put that on in case fire, so I at least have that extra layer. And then I'm going through this whole process of like, okay, there's a cushion. I know there's a seat, like a flotation device, and that's got to have some padding. So I'm gonna fucking get that, and I'm gonna grab the pad next to me, and like if we're going down, I'm gonna fight this thing, and I'm gonna make it. Like I will be the guy that walks out with a burning plane. I'm gonna make it. And I had this come over me, this fight, this soul that just started to burn in me of just like, I'm going to make this. So there was no like epiphany out of this. There's nothing more than the fact that you had to submit to what is. However, as the pain began to throttle up, immediately I knew, okay, the engines are okay. Maybe if we took a strike, we're electric, the panels are out, all their instruments may be, screwed up, so they can navigate. We still got the lights of the airport that we can navigate. We got a compass. We got all these types of things. So I know all these things. So bank, and I'm like, bank, let's get back. And then we started gaining altitude. And you know what's funny? I'm sitting here going through all this type of stuff in my mind. And immediately, like, the stewardess sits back down, facing, got a calm little face, and let's go. I look at everybody back into their phones, and I'm having this spiritual experience of going, like, hey, this is dead reckoning. Like, oh my God. Like, here we are. Like, what have you done in your life? What have you accomplished thus far? What have you left as a legacy? What have you done, my son? And in dead reckoning, the curtain's pulled back, everything's revealed. You have nowhere to hide, and it is what it is. And there'll be a day, if you want, I'll share my story of what my dead reckoning was. But I will tell you it was a confirmation of the purpose, a confirmation of the direction that I'm going. And like, as if that wasn't enough, I come home and my Queen Marin's wearing a t-shirt. I go, are you kidding me right now? Not the fact that she's wearing a t-shirt, but the t-shirt had a lightning bolt on it. It's got a lightning bolt on it. Like God's like, okay, I kissed you with lightning. I woke up your soul, dusted it off. You got a fire. And then if you need some confirmation, just come home to a wife wearing a lightning bolt t-shirt. Like, who owns a lightning bolt t-shirt? Marin does. And dead reckoning has knocked at my door. But the purpose of this today, and the calling for you, is not to go to the ends of the world to try to find this dead reckoning, to get a soul calling, to find your purpose. As much as it is to consider without having to go through what I went through, that if it was all over today, knocks on your door, hey, we're going home. Are you okay with what you've left? That's it. And you got to come to terms with that as you sit here listening to this. Are you okay with what you've left? Your legacy. Your memoirs to your kids. Money to your kids. Where you've led them. Are you okay with what you'd leave to your significant other? And then are you okay with what you've done, the person you've been in life? I know I was, but not at the level that it could have been. That's why I was willing to fight. Like, really, who thinks about patting themselves with flotation device? I mean, that was pretty smart. I'm like, yes, I'm going down. I'm bouncing with some of this shit, which wouldn't have worked out. We all know that. But my brain got involved. But I tell you, my mind was blown at the end. My heart's opened up and my soul's on fire. But imagine what you could do with that today. Imagine in 2020 where you would be showing up in this world in 2020 if you could open your heart and light your soul on fire for what you do and who you are and the people that you lead. You want to thrive? Dead reckoning. Dead reckoning, my people. Let it sit in your soul. Let it open your heart. Then you'll have some planning to do for 2020. We'll talk to you next time.